and roll.
Okay. So she came with you where?
Louise Bourgeois came with me to the Navarone Bertoni casting director, Esther Bertoni, or Esther Navarone, and I had written a poem about what I thought how Woody handled his auditions.
Where were you going to? What was this?
This was for an audition for the Stardust Memory movie.
And how, this is the first one you tried to get in on? The first time you went to like audition? Or to go on a Woody Allen movie? Or
Yes, that was the first.
Was it the first time you went to be in a movie? Like
no,
a commercial film instead of a... No? Why did you decide to take Louise? Or why did she decide to come?
Well, we did everything together, and we were inseparable. Before I met Louise, my life was very, very empty in New York. I was very, very isolated, and I was working as a hat check girl in Christie's on 11th Street, and a friend of mine, Robert, who was a professional party crasher, who knows everybody, and I went to the museum on a Monday afternoon, and I'll never forget it. We walked in the museum, and we're sitting right where the postcards are, just hanging out, and I look over and I see this woman in a monkey coat, a black, hairy monkey coat with a beret.
What month is this? What season?
This was like at the end of the winter.
Okay.
And he goes over, he goes, I want to introduce you to Louise. And I just was, I felt something so strong, and I was just mystified. And she was waiting to meet her son, and her son was waiting upstairs for her, we found out later. But she was also helping to organize the Picasso exhibit at the Modern.
Did you know who she was before you met her?
No. This is the strangest thing. I met her, and I was just entranced. And all I could do was think about her, but I thought that was Louise Nevelson. And she said, and she made some reference about St. Peter's Church. And Louise Nevelson has a shrine on 53rd Street in St. Peter's. So I went out and bought Louise Nevelson book,
and you never saw the picture, or
I kept thinking, Jesus, this doesn't look like her. This woman is a soft woman, but maybe she changes and puts her eyelashes on, and she has a little French accent. Maybe she just puts it on. And for like 2 weeks, every day, I'd read the book, I'd look, and I made this picture because I thought she has two personalities, and I thought that this was her mean personality, and this was her sweet personality. And it says here, two personalities merge. Do they exist separately? Do they need each other to play? One is so hard, the other is so soft. I love both, but I only know one. And finally, I'd mention things about Nevelson, and Louise would look at me strange. I went to her house. Finally, I sent her a postcard saying that I had seen St. Peter's, and she called me up and invited me to a gallery opening, and this was I met her there, and there she was, very sort of hunched over, she looked sort of raggedy that day, and she asked me if I wanted to go back to her house, and I just couldn't imagine what kind of place this woman lived in, or anything, and we're on the subway because she never takes cabs. I'm ready to hail down the cab. She goes, no, we'll take the subway. And she goes, I have a very serious question to ask you. I said, what? And I thought, oh my God. She said, do you like ice cream? So, I felt a little bit more relaxed, but then we went into her house, and it's a townhouse in Chelsea. And the doors opened, and it was like going into another world. It wasn't America anymore. It was completely French. There were glass doors with beautiful little flowers all engraved. Mm-hmm. And then she had a little kitchen with she had little archways. Her whole house was very intricate and very different. And her backyard had all these wooden beams with little rocks all around them. And she said, here, sit down. And she sat me down. She goes, here, fix yourself a drink. And she gave me a Jack Daniels. she turned off the lights, and she started flashing these slides on the wall of old 1920 Cadillacs. See, part of the reason that we met was because I was writing a play about cars, and she asked me if I was interested in cars, because we both were fascinated with cars. And she told me that she had her family had like the first model Cadillac ever made, and every year they used to have a race from Paris down to the Riviera in these Cadillacs. And part of her obsession was that her mother had asthma and she wasn't allowed to drive, so her father had this mistress that was her governess, but also was the driver. And then when she turned 18,
Really French.
when she turned 18, she could drive, so the mistress was just gone. But I saw these slides of a woman that was so multifaceted, but so extraordinary. I mean, she was my guide and my inspiration.
So how did she affect your life? You became friends, and then, like, what did it do to your life at that point when you first became friends?
Well, it gave my art a context.
Before that, what was it? What were you concerned with? You did the thing about the cars.
Well, I was concerned with also her criticism of, what I was writing and how I was acting. And, as long as we talked about acting, we got along fine. But when I started calling myself an artist, we didn't get along so well. Because she said, "You're not an artist, you're an actress."
Why? Why'd she say that?
Because...
I mean, actresses don't write plays usually, that's another thing.
Well, I think mainly because, so that I don't get confused. I go off in a lot of different directions, and I think that she wants me to focus on the acting part because
she thinks that's
the strongest part.
What about the stuff like the collages you do and that kind of thing?
She's never seen them.
Why not? Are you afraid, Susan? I mean, I would be.
Yeah.
No, I show my stuff. I'm shameless, but
She's no interest. As soon as I
that's
start,
what it is? Oh, okay.
As soon as I start becoming too Ari, she said she's bored by it. She thinks it's...
Why? Because it comes out of her? She knows so many people already, or?
Maybe. I don't know.
So you stick to the performance, you stick to acting, you stick to what you're bringing out of yourself as a person? But when you're in her shows, from what I read, weren't you wearing things? Isn't everybody who's in the show, not only they wear part of something she made in like an acting contest?
She had a fashion show, and I was in that, and she had two people working for her, Cheryl and Michael, making these costumes with latex, and I'd go down and try the costumes on. They had all these breasts on them. And I wore one of the costumes in the village Halloween parade. And I went with a lobster. And we won free tickets to the Copacabana costume ball. And then we won 2 tickets to Brazil for our costumes.
That's great. Now, did you give the ticket to her? Or?
No. I didn't even get the ticket. The lobster. Oh, that lobster.
Oh, wait, okay, so now you're going with Louise to the Woody Allen interview. Change course a little bit.
Yes, and we went in there, and...
Wait, how does this happen now? You've known her for a while, this is recent?
Oh, yeah, this was after about a year of knowing each other, and we went everywhere together. I'd do her dirty work, she'd do mine.
Well, what's dirty work?
Well, I mean, like, she'd have to call somebody up on the telephone, maybe, she didn't feel like talking to the hardware store, or answering the door, or... we helped each other out. And she was very interested in meeting this casting director. And we went in, and like we were just in her office, and she's sitting there, and she's like not even paying attention. I said, I had something to read you. She's going, I can't listen to it now. Louise is sitting there. See, Louise always gets me going. She goes, read it. So she's on the telephone, and I start reading. She goes, wait a minute, Esther. Says, wait a minute, I'll listen, but just wait 5 minutes. And I can't believe this woman, Esther, is telling Louise Bourgeois to wait. And I said, do you know who this is? This is Louise Bourgeois. It was just, oh. And so I read
So what's Louise do? I mean, she's real quiet.
Louise just was very silent, was just listening.
Why did she think this woman was with you? I mean, this is a woman who's... What did she think you came in for? Louise is your agent? She's your mother? Or... Why would you come in with someone else? You know what I'm saying? What did...
Oh, I don't know what she thought.
She just let her come in and sit there?
I mean, she didn't ask her in. She didn't ask me in. I just showed up at the casting office. I didn't have an appointment.
I see.
This was after they called me up from the Woody Allen movie. They said, the casting director said to me, Mr. Woody Allen is going to make your day. It was 7:30 in the morning. Mr. Woody Allen wants to have a personal interview.
Mr. Woody Allen?
Mr. Woody. And I mean, I screamed so loud, my mother heard me in Maine.
Okay, now how did they know about you? Sent a picture in or what?
Oh, and I had an audition, you know, primary. Just you go in.
So did Louise go with that one with you?
No. She didn't go to any of the auditions. She went directly to the casting director. And I wrote this wonderful poem. Do you want maybe I should read it?
Of course.
Just look at it. It's called The Audition.